Hey everybody, welcome back to ToadTactics. This is the Big Toad with another Raid Shadow Legends video. All right, so I'm going to do a follow-up on rare champions and what to do with them and which ones do I keep and not keep. I walked through the basics in a previous video. Now I want to talk about some really high value rare champions that you're going to want to keep and you're going to use them a lot. Okay, and again, it's situational. If you don't get one of these until late game, you may never use it. But if you happen to come across one early, use it. So I'm gonna actually pop over to one of my big accounts and look at some of these. Okay. All right. So I'll go out to the ones I've got so I can show you. I actually use these. All right. So let's come down here and find some of the blues. Okay, here we go. Painkeeper, a void champion, which means you only get these from void shards. I have her at level 60. I have some great gear. It's not even fully leveled up, but she is an incredible champion. If you pull her early, you're going to want to put her to 60 and you're going to use her. I still use her. I use her in some of the hardest content in the game, like Iron Twins. Hard, but she has value. Look at her skills. All right. First, this one attacks one enemy 2 times, fills this champion's turn meter by 10%. So not an awesome skill, not something to write home about, but hey, that's value. Next one attacks all enemies and heals all allies by 15% of this champion's max HP. Wow. And damage is based on HP and attack. So what do I got for max HP on this one? Again, not everything's. I got 73,000 HP. Is that incredible? Nah. There's guys that'll have 100,000, but this Painkeeper uh, puts out the heals, and it does that every 4 turns, and also decreases the cooldowns of an ally skill of all ally skills by one turn. That is hugely valuable. It gets that way when she's on your team, she's producing these heals, and she's also then uh, reducing the cooldown on your other champions' uh, big skills, so that they get to use them more often. So Painkeeper, if you get her, hey, cheer, have a drink. This is a great champion. She's one you're going to use a lot. This next one, Renegade, very situational. Very situational. And I'm gonna show you something about the skills here too. You notice I don't have her skilled all the way up. I do this one. Fortunately, I do this one, but I don't this one. Why? Because I want this one on a 6. I have to manage the cooldown. I had to stop putting books into her because I did not want her to get another cooldown reduction. Why? Because I was speed tuning her to use in a clan boss team for both Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare. So here it is. I'm fighting Ultra Nightmare. I'm dropping Ultimate Nightmare with 2 keys, and I'm using Renegade because of some of the skills she's got. This heal reduction, which is it good on clan boss? No, but that can be good in other areas in the game. And it's it's 100% heal reduction. So that's 0 heals. There's times when you want 0 heals on someone. Attacks 3 times at random. Has a 50% chance of placing this decreased speed debuff for 2 turns. Places 25 decreased accuracy debuff for 2 turns. The target has any active buffs. So again, handy, but that's not what makes her spectacular. Decreases the cooldown of all ally skills by 2 turns. That's why I had her um, in my clan boss team. 2 turns. That's huge, and it's a rare champion that you'll pick up soon enough. I got her to 60, and I used her again. The key: don't overbook her. As soon as you book one here, you're done. Don't do any more unless you're going to use her someplace besides clan boss, and that's for speed tuning reasons. And we're too early in the game to talk about that yet. So if you pull her, don't start working on her right away. You can level her up a little bit, use her here and there, maybe use her in faction wars while you need her, but don't level her to 60 until you see that you have a need for her in your clan boss team, because you might not ever have the right combination of champions to put with her for clan boss, but if you do, she's a killer champion. All right, next, Frozen Banshee. She's a great champion. You're going to use her a ton in faction wars, and depending on what you partner her with, she gets very valuable. Again, let's look at her skills. She's going to drop a poison, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit has an 80% chance of placing a 5% poison, which is the big poison. And for 2 turns, if the target is under a poison sensitivity buff, and she actually puts down the poison sensitivity buff here with her A3, and that's a rare skill. It's a place at 25% poison sensitivity, making them 25% more sensitive. So that means poisons on the target that's infected with this takes more damage for those 2 turns, and that's a 3 turn when you get it fully booked out like this. So again, and it also attacks one enemy, fills the turn meters of all allies by 2% for each debuff on the target. All right, so if you match her up with other champions that are throwing lots of debuffs on the target, she's going to fill that turn meter of everybody across the board. So very good. She's going to drop poisons on, very powerful. She's going to make the enemy more sensitive, and she's going to fill turn meters. And what's the value here? You might use her early and maybe even the mid on your clan boss team, especially if you have somebody that's going to put a lot of poisons down, like a Fane, who's going to drop lots of poisons on them. And there's other champions that put lots of poisons out there for you to use. And so she can become valuable. Of course, Kale, here's Kale. He's all the way to 60. And you'll use him for a long time and various things. Now, this is one of my favorite, Bellower. Again, is void, so you can only get him from a purple shard. He takes the place of Kale for a farmer. He's my favorite farmer. I see guys, all kinds of epics and legendaries that they're using the farm with. When I get a Bellower, he becomes my campaign farmer. Number one always. That way I can take the other champions and gear them up for other purposes. But Bellower is, in my mind, the perfect campaign farmer. And it all comes down to his skills. All 3 skills are AoE attacks. That means each one of his skills will attack everybody on the other team. And he's got great debuffs on every one of these. Decreased attack, decreased defense on his A3, decreased speed on his A2, and block active skills, which is a great one on his A1. But he's such a good campaign farmer, and he hits so hard with each of these 3 AoEs that you don't care about the debuffs. Now, I'll use them other places too. Like I'll use them in faction wars for a while. And sometimes I'll throw him somewhere when I want one of these debuffs to hit on something, but he wipes out the other team. I'm going to show you. It's just fun to watch him run a campaign battle. All right, so I'm going to go to my campaign battles, and this is brutal, right? So we're doing right now normal on my new account. Then there's hard, then there's brutal. So that's where you're going to want to do most of your farming for food. I'm going to go to 12-3, which is where you're going to get the most value, and I'm going to run him all by himself. And this is why I love him. And it doesn't take a lot of great gear. It takes the right gear. So he wipes him out one shot. Wipes that one out one shot. See each AoE, and here we go. Bam. And he's going fast enough where they never get a shot. So in 10 seconds, I cleared out 12-3 on brutal. And that's where you're going to do a lot of your farming. The shields provide most silver and great XP for your food. So again, great champion. It's one of my favorites for farming food. Are there better ones? I don't know. Some people use other things. I don't. Michaelis. He's a situational one. He's not one of. I brought him to 60 because I needed him in my faction wars, and he serves the purpose of doing heals and reducing damage. putting shields, so ally protect. So he's got value. I had to use him in Faction Wars. Cold Heart, another Void champion. You pull Cold Heart, get excited because she is an incredible champion. And a lot of people will run 2 of her against Spider because of her skills. And so if you get her, plan on putting her to 60. Kale to 60. Bellower, get him to 60. Painkeeper, automatically go to 60. Okay, so Cold Heart. Attacks 4 times at random. Each hit, 25% chance of placing 100% heal reduction. No healing. That's awesome. Attacks all enemies. Has a 30% chance of placing a 50% decreased accuracy debuff for 1 turn. Places a 5% poison debuff for 2 turns if the target is under heal reduction. So if she hits with the A1 and then follows up with the A2, you get poison. And then the A3, 4-turn cooldown, attacks 1 enemy. Decrease the target's turn meter by 100%. Has an extra 30% chance of inflicting a critical hit. So she could critical hits when she only has critical of 70 because she gets extra 30% chance. She decreases the turn meter by 100%, and damage increases according to enemy max HP. So damage based on enemy max HP and her attack. Huge skill, Heartseeker. That's what makes her so powerful in something like Spider. You get 2 of those against Spider, and every 4 turns they're hitting Spider with that. She's not getting a turn. And so you can drop her pretty quick. This also works. You can also, that same thing works in Fire Knight. Fire Knight's a tough one because you got to break down the shield, and because you can't do any damage to him while the shield's up. But then he pulls that shield back up. Well, if you reduce his turn meter by 100% a couple times, he's never going to get his chance to put that shield back up, and you wipe him out pretty quick. So Heartseeker, incredible champion. You get excited if you pull her. All right, now there's others. There's others that if I pull, see, I'm working on another Cold Heart here, and let's see if I have them here. Going down through my champions. No, I'm gonna check my vault, see what I've got. All right, this guy, he's a dwarf, alchemage, and he'll do you good in Faction Wars for quite a while. So you'll want to get him to 50. And Spirit Host, again, she can be of value. There's Apothecary. It's funny. In this account, I never got the Apothecary up where I wanted him. So let's pull him out and look. And Eris, I'm going to pull her out and look at her too. Very valuable, rare champion. And this guy, very situational, but you'll be surprised. We already talked about those 2 in those 2 greens. But I want to bring out those really quick because they have some value. I just didn't get them early enough in this account to use them. All right, but to the collection, and let's talk about them. Okay, they're down here somewhere. Okay, Hellborn Sprite. What makes her good? Increases the duration of all ally buffs by 1 turn, then places a 15% increased crit rate buff on all allies for 2 turns. It is that right there. Increase the duration of an ally buff by 1 turn. And she does that every 3 turns. This little Hellborn Sprite, I don't have her worked up here because I don't have the champions to go with her, is hugely valuable. She's actually been used for some of the world record clan boss damage teams because of that skill right there. Very valuable. Also, she does a heal reduction. Attacks on enemy 3 times. Each hit has a 50% chance of placing a 100% heal reduction. I actually, not on this account, obviously, because she's still low, but I have an account that I'm working on. Hopefully I'll get the last champion to do one of those world record teams for Infinity Comp. But I use her actually in Fire Knight because once she puts the heal reduction on Fire Knight, you don't care if he goes back. When he goes into his shield, he heals himself. Well, if he's got a heal reduction on him, and she has a really good chance of applying it because she does this 3 hits and a 50% each time, and then you get this bonus here of another 25%, so 75% chance, and she does it 3 times to put this heal reduction. So you get her accuracy up high, and on Fire Knight, she puts that heal reduction, and then if he goes into a shield, he doesn't heal. And that's one of the tricks. So when you're fighting Fire Knight, you got to get that shield down, and you want to keep it down. Well, the best way to do that is turn meter reduction. Well, I don't have the proper turn meter reduction on one of my accounts, so instead I use the heal reduction approach. So I can't stop him from putting a shield up, but I can stop him from healing when he does it. So that's her value. And then if she puts a weaken, which is always a good skill on somewhere like a Fire Knight or something. But so I didn't need her on this account because I have really good, I have other champs that'll do a heal reduction, and I have other champs that will do that take her place. But yeah, Fire Knight, she's actually really good. It's surprising. Apothecary, I mentioned him. If you get this guy early, he's awesome. This A3 is an increased speed, right? So it places a 30% increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns and fills their turn meter by 15%. I've used him as a speed lead in arena, and you'll see him a lot in low to mid game as a speed lead, because he'll speed up your team and make you get out there. And he's got this heal, and it heals pretty good. Why don't I use him? I've got better speed leads and better healers. But on my other accounts, I have him to level 60, and I used him a lot. And then it attacks 3 random times. So I've actually used him in Fire Knight as well, because that 3 times attack helps bring that shield down. And the speed helps because your guys get to attack more, and then this heals often critical. So you get Apothecary early, you're going to want to get him to 60 and use him in arenas and other areas in the game. He's just valuable because of his heals and his speed. Eris, interesting. I got better champions, but very good champion. Used her in Clan Boss, believe it or not, as well. Attacks an enemy, grants an extra turn if the target is killed. That doesn't help you in Clan Boss, but hey, it's great in arenas when you're starting out, or in campaigns and in faction wars. Next one, removes 1 random debuff from all allies, has a 60% chance of placing this increased speed. And when you get this fully booked, it's a 100% chance of placing it. You got 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, so it's a 100% chance. So that's her value in Clan Boss. And why? Because the Clan Boss, on one of his attacks, hits one person, one of your champions, and stuns them. And then that will throw your speed tune out. Because to really get good at your Clan Boss, you want a speed tune. That means your champions are all going in the right order at the right time to take maximum advantage of all their skills, so the Clan Boss cannot kill them. Well, if he stuns somebody and that stun is not removed before their turn, that throws the speed tune off and your team is wasted. Well, she's a really easy champion to get that can remove that stun. You just speed tune her up so she goes first after that boss attack that does the stun, and then she removes it, and then has that 100% chance when she's fully booked to increase speed. Again, this was my first account ever, and I had these guys and I didn't know what their value was, so I didn't use them. But now on my new accounts, when I get an Apothecary, it maxes up. I get her ready to go. I get him. I love this Hellborn Sprite. So now, is that all of them? No, there's others that you can use as well that I don't have on this account. But again, they're situational in that they're just handy. And I went through some of the big ones right there. And there's ways you can go out and learn about champions and figure out what you want and which ones you need. I'm going to save that for another video. This one's gone long. I just wanted to highlight some of my favorite rare champions that have value into late game. So this is ToadTactics. I'm the Big Toad, talking about Raid Shadow Legends. And until next time, I'm out of here. Don't forget to support me by subscribing to this channel. Click the thumbs up below and drop me an email. You can find that in the description below. Have fun playing Raid. Until next time.